Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today I want to talk about Wild Girls by Rory Power. So I picked this up because everyone was so hyped about this debut. I mean, the premise sounds interesting, the cover does an absolutely stunning job in captivating your interest, and I was just interested to see what a young adult horror mystery dystopian LGBT romance book is all about. This one is described as a combination of different things. So this was compared to The Lord of the Flies, it was compared to Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer, it was also compared to The Village. So it sounds like an amazing mix. It sounded like an amazing mix. I have read The Lord of the Flies and it was really an unsettling book, and it was so weird and so good at the same time, and I wanted to see if this is the same. I haven't read The Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer, but I saw the movie and that was also similarly weird and interesting concepts of science and nature, combination of those. So if this is a combination of all of these elements, I just thought that it's gonna be amazing, and especially for a debut. It also says in the bag that it has feministic themes in it, LGBT+, also horror in this element. I mean, I'm not one horror fan at all, so I was curious to see if this is going to be for me, because I mean, a lot of people read a lot of Stephen King on BookTube, and I just always thought that horror is not for me. Whenever I watch, and that's very seldom, a horror movie, I'm always hiding under my blanket for the most of it, so there's no point for me watching, anyway. So I wanted to see if a book is gonna be different for me. So let me tell you about the premise. So this is set on this island. It's called Raxter Island, and there's this boarding school where only girls are attending. So they're pretty caught off from the outside world. And as we start this story, we find out that there's this mysterious illness called the tox, which hit this island, and it made it so different. It made changes to the environment, to the animal, and to the people. So basically, when these tox hit, a lot of the adults died, and there were a few adults remaining, but also the girls. So some of the girls died, some didn't, and the girls who remained alive kind of mutated. So these girls experienced these big outbreaks, which can kill them, and if it doesn't kill them, then it changes them. So their bodies change as time goes by, and they all change a bit differently. So it's quite a difficult situation to be in, and it is an all-girls school. So as you can imagine, there are these cliques, friendships develop, and there's all kind of dynamics in this group. It was quite an interesting read because, especially for a debut, I think Rory Power is an amazing author. She's so good in creating this dreadful, weird, and so unique atmosphere on this island. You feel almost like you're part of this school and these girls, and see how they fight to survive, and how they experience their changing bodies. There's this ominous feel in the air, and it's the weirdest thing ever, seriously. I think I might try to read Annihilation at some point if it's the same type of weird, because even though I'm not really a fan of these kind of atmospheres and this weird feeling, there's just something so compelling about it. You just want to continue reading, you just want to continue to figure out what is going to happen, what this talks is, what happened in the past, that what makes these girls so special that these talks and this thing happens on this particular island. So this is an all-female cast in this book, and I think that's also quite an interesting choice. And I was wondering throughout this book, why all-female cast? Is there something more to it? the story is told from two perspectives. There's Hetty and there's Bayat. They're friends, and Bayat disappears, and then Hetty tries to figure out what's going on. There's also some LGBT romance in it, but there's not a lot of focus on that. Mostly, I think this book is about female friendships, and I think it's done really well, even though, in my opinion, it's not explored as much. There's also this attitude of every woman for themselves in this book, which is kind of at odds with these great friendships which are forming and are formed between some of these people. Overall, I think this book tackles a lot of interesting themes, and the most important ones are, for example, a little bit about feminism, because there's this question among these girls about what they would do. For example, if someone would find the cure, would they keep these changes in their bodies, or would they go back to the way it was before? It's not really explored more beyond that, but I think it's also an interesting idea to put out there. Another interesting theme is the female body and how it changes and how we deal with this change. Overall, this unsettling feeling throughout this book was really interesting for me, because it captivated me, it immersed me in the story. But regarding the themes I mentioned and the scientific element of the talks and how it changes these girls, there's this thing that I feel doesn't really work together, because I think it divides the book and it divides maybe the audience as well. So for example, I don't know how to feel about it. I don't know what this book wants to achieve, for example, because there are really amazing themes explored, maybe even a fraction of a women's fiction-y vibe to this. But on the other hand, this one is also a kind of a horror dystopian young adult mystery book. So what is this book want? What is its purpose? And I don't think I figured it out, and maybe the point is not to figure it out. Maybe it's just the point is to leave you guessing and leave you with the questions. But despite me not liking the ending and wanting a sequel, I'm not sure we're gonna have one. I looked online, I didn't find anything about it, so it's interesting if it's left where it's left. But if it goes more in, if the aim of this was to be more of a feministic woman fiction type of book, then I understand why there wouldn't be any sequel. If this would go more towards the horror dystopian mystery, then it would make sense if there would be a sequel. I think this book will divide and is dividing people. If you like magical realism type of books, you would also enjoy this one. If you like more realistic, real-world settings, you would like this one. If you veer more towards fantasy, magic in that sense, then I think maybe this wouldn't be so much for you. But I think it's worth a try, because it's so different from what young adult books, or from other young adult books out there, I want to say. And I think this cover really captivates what this book is about. So I'm really happy I read it. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. Let me know if you have any other recommendations you can give me based on this. So I guess this is where I'll leave you. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.